People look at the Gungan city under Naboo and assume it's pure science fiction. Giant glowing bubbles at the bottom of an ocean, holding breathable air, resisting crushing pressure, while creatures swim casually outside like this is normal. It looks impossible. It isn't. It's just extremely expensive physics. Let's start with the core problem. At depth, water pressure increases fast, roughly 1 additional atmosphere every 10 meters. At the depth implied in Naboo's oceans, you're talking hundreds of atmospheres of pressure trying to collapse anything hollow. Any city down there has 2 options: equalize pressure or fight it. The Gungans chose to fight it. Those translucent bubble domes are not just aesthetic. Structurally, they're doing something very clever. A sphere is the strongest possible shape for resisting external pressure. Submarines, deep-sea habitats, even pressure tanks all rely on curved geometry for exactly this reason. Flat surfaces fail, curves survive. Now look closely at the material. The domes aren't glass. They behave more like a flexible energy membrane, something that can distribute force evenly, deform slightly under stress, and then return to shape. Think less window, more contained force field with rules. This matters because pressure isn't static. Ocean currents, shock waves, creature movement, all of that introduces fluctuating stress. A rigid dome would crack. A dynamic one absorbs. So how does the air stay inside? 2 things are happening. First, the internal pressure is carefully regulated. The Gungans aren't sitting at surface level pressure. They're likely operating at a higher internal pressure, closer to the surrounding water pressure, just low enough to remain breathable. That reduces the pressure differential and keeps the dome from imploding. Second, the boundary layer itself likely uses active force reinforcement, a constant energy input that counters inward pressure molecule by molecule. That's why breaches don't cause explosive decompression. The system compensates in real time. In short, the city isn't holding back the ocean. It's negotiating with it. Now, let's talk about the big flaw. Every Gungan dome is a single-point failure system. Lose power, lose the field, and the ocean wins instantly. There's no gradual collapse, no redundancy, no fallback environment, just physics reclaiming its territory. Which brings us to Leviathan 7. The Leviathan Spire solves the same problem, but from the opposite direction. Instead of building a permanent city and daring the ocean to crush it, the Spire creates a temporary pressure-stabilized dry zone. When deployed, it anchors into the seabed and generates a dome that does 3 things simultaneously. It displaces water rather than holding it back. It stabilizes internal pressure dynamically, adapting to depth. And it decouples the internal environment from external fluctuations. Inside the dome, there's breathable air, normal gravity, and no crushing pressure. Outside, the ocean remains unimpressed. The key difference is control. Gungan cities are static. Leviathan spires are adaptive. If external pressure increases, the spire doesn't resist harder. It redistributes. The dome flexes, rebalances, and equalizes. If the system detects instability, it can collapse safely, flood in a controlled manner, or redeploy elsewhere. That's not architecture. That's field engineering. There's also a philosophical difference. The Gungans built a civilization and trusted it to endure. Leviathan 7 builds operational spaces, temporary, relocatable, deniable. No permanent footprint, no city to besiege, no population to trap. You're not meant to live in a Leviathan spire. You're meant to work, contain, and leave. So is the Gungan city possible? Yes, absolutely. With advanced materials, massive energy generation, and a tolerance for catastrophic failure, it works. Nature allows it, barely. But Leviathan 7 doesn't rely on permission from physics. We negotiate with it, briefly, efficiently, and then we disappear before it notices we were ever there. That's the difference between a civilization under the sea and a force that operates beneath it.